My mentor went to the US to visit some friends, and she got sick. The clinic manager was this young man that loved the Lord, was completely sold out to the Lord, and she thought it would be a good thing if we could be friends.
And she told me about Ju, because Ju had just come to receive the Lord recently, and her only Christian friends were the ones that she had led to the Lord.
I did not want to look for, a boyfriend or...
I went home that day, called my cell group leader, and told him I just heard about the girl I'm going to marry.
Andrew and I had been emailing each other for about a month, and we've been just pouring out our hearts. And
just started pouring our hearts out to each other.
I prayed one night, and it was a prayer in silence between the Lord and I prayed for confirmation.
You know, I didn't need confirmation because when I heard about her, I knew that she was to be my wife.
I wanted Andrew to send me Isaiah 61, 1-3, which was my call to missions.
If he is the one, have him send me Isaiah 61, 1, 2, and 3, the very next time he writes.
As I said, Lord, just have him send me this verse, tomorrow, on his very next email. And he did it.
And I did.
Bold letters, green font.
Isaiah 61, center justified, green, and then a paragraph back at 10, default font at the bottom. There are 24 villages on the shores of Lake Bosumtwi, and roughly 43 if you count on the mountains and just over the hills. And our clinic is as the only doctor.
I have many patients at the clinic that come to us, and they have to be admitted, and many times they have no clothes. Most of the children here have never seen a Hot Wheel. They have no toys. The toys they have are the ones they made with their own material.
You know, the stories at the end of the day, or even at lunch, that Ju shares about the patients that come are just fascinating and scary. Machete fights, where she's got to suture up a couple of drunken guys. You know, tuberculosis, HIV, AIDS.
The babies that are born at the clinic are very small babies, and that is mostly because of malaria during pregnancy. Malaria and pregnancy, it's not a good combination, so the babies are the ones that suffer the most.
It's wild medicine, tropical medicine in a bush clinic.
I was unpacking my bags. It was our first day here. And someone came into the house saying there was a man dying at the clinic, that I should go. I was walking down the hill and I heard a few words about cholera, and I heard that there were already half a dozen of people dead because of cholera. And I went down this hill thinking, Lord, what am I doing here? My first patient was Kwame. Kwame was almost dead. Many followed after Kwame. We had over 100 patients with cholera since that day. Life here teaches us about depending on God 100%, 365 days out of the year.
They were trying to put an IV in a guy yesterday. And in order to keep the IV in the person's vein, you have a strip of tape.
So I went around all over trying to find medical tape, and it was an impossible task.
We don't have tape.
Yeah, like the bandage plaster tape.
Oh no, but we don't have them in the pharmacy here. We normally have them at the ward.
Well, it doesn't even have to be plastic. It sticks to the skin. Just the kind that sticks to the skin. No, just like plaster bandage. The orange. Yeah, the plaster bandage.
No, they don't have. They don't have that. Why don't you check
They
outside?
didn't have it. I've been to different pharmacies and they've.
It's a medical store.
Okay. Now, the time, unless we go to the store. But the store now they have closed.
They have closed.
They have closed. Normally they close 4 o'clock. Now it's
Okay. That's it.
So yesterday they had no tape, and Kirk was using shoelace to make sure that the needle stayed in the vein.
One of the biggest challenges of living here is raising children in a village. People who've never been around white people. Never been around such strange looking people that wear different clothes, that have different customs, that have furniture in their house and need electricity and different basic things like a refrigerator, which is strange to them.
What would you do if every day in your life was unpredictable? What would you do if you lived in a place where snakes can be so poisonous that in 30 minutes before you reach a hospital, you can be dead? You can either pack your things and go home. You can either live a very stressful life, or you can choose to surrender every day and give it to the Lord and trust. God is not safe. So why should we be looking for safety? You want to show your children there is no better place to be than in the center of God's will for your life. He is faithful. And our children are His children.
Traditionally, the Ashanti people view sickness as spiritual. So when someone has malaria, it's not of what caused the malaria, such as a mosquito, but who sent the mosquito. What is the spiritual root cause of it? So when the time comes for treatment, the first response might be to go to either a fetish priest to remove the curse or to find out who put the curse, see what counter curse or counter ritual they might have to do to remove it. Or the other option might be to the herbalist, who would give some traditional medicine, a local plant. And kind of a last resort would be to see Western medicine. For them to come to someone that is going to give them medicine in a time of need, but also pray with them.
I am Ebenezer Opoku, and I work at the clinic as a chaplain. I was born at this village, attended school at this village. I was afraid of ghosts, I was afraid of witch and wizards. I wasn't having Christ in me. And that makes you scared. Since Reverend and Julie came, there's a great change. And first, people come here, sometimes you don't have the drugs and they will die. But now, since they came, the loss of lives. You know, the one who is within you, behind you, besides you is greater than every other spirit, and you can walk over them.
You know, before getting to Ghana, I had this idealistic dream that people would be walking down the roads with their hands in the air worshiping God within a couple of years of us moving here. But the reality is, I can't go out and preach in the churches like I thought I would be. It's not the time. But He's placed me with a few choice people to disciple.
There is a body of believers in this place. And I believe they're the ones that have been praying for many years. And I believe it was their prayers that brought Andrew and Juliana all the way from America and from Brazil to come live here.
Our work here is covered in prayer. And it's through that, knowing that our Father is listening and answering and taking care of us, because I know that at 5 in the morning in America, this pastor is praying, and that at 8 o'clock at night, someone else is praying, and that the churches across Brazil are praying every day for us, in England and Ireland and America, all over the world.
Scripture comes alive when you're doing it. It doesn't matter if we don't have electricity. It doesn't matter if it's hot. The most comfortable place to be is in the center of God's will.